And for our opening remarks, we turn the microphone over to Mayor Joe Trotashard.
Good morning, friends. I hereby submit the Negaunee Centenial Proclamation. Whereas on July 11, 1865, by action of the market, there were set aside 3 sections of what is now the city of Negaunee as the village of Negaunee. Whereas 100 years have elapsed since the establishment of Negaunee as a village, during which there at times has been many memorable events. Whereas it is our desire to return thanks to the Supreme Governor of the universe and thankfully acknowledge our debt to the contributions of our citizens during these past 100 years. Now therefore, I, Clarence J. Trotashard, Mayor of the City of Negaunee, do hereby declare the period from July 2nd, 1965 to July 10th, 1965 as a time of worship and friendship and fellowship, that we with our former residents and neighbors may appropriately recognize the events of the past 100 years.
And that's the way it officially began. From then on, there were 9 fun-filled, exciting days. Traffic was heavy heading into Negaunee for its 100th birthday celebration, 1865 to 1965. Friday, July 2nd, Fraternal Day, the opening day of Negaunee's 1965 Centennial celebration. That was the official beginning, but the big show started at 7 p.m. that night with the official kickoff parade. It was the first of 3 parades to be held during Centennial time. And right now, let's check some of the sights and sounds of that great parade. Thousands of people lined the streets to view the first parade in Negaunee's 1965 Centennial celebration. The opening section of the parade contained marching units, the Negaunee City Band, members of the Negaunee Fire Department, also members of the Palmer Fire Department, and the Centennial Queen candidates. Let's pick up some of that music right now from the Negaunee City Band. Yes, what's a parade without beauty? And this parade had plenty of beauty. All of the candidates in the Negaunee Centennial Queen pageant were on hand, and the crowd loved them. Yes, there was plenty of young beauty in the parade, but since it was a centennial parade, it also meant that there should be something from the past. And there was. Plenty of old-time cars on hand. This parade was billed as the Fraternal Day Parade, a day for fraternal organizations, and this float was entered by the Knights of Columbus. Well, even without looking at the writing on the side, it's probably easy to guess that this float was entered by the Negaunee Lions Club. Now it's Negaunee's finest, Negaunee's high school band. You know, although Negaunee did not become a village until 1865 and a city until 1873, the educational history of the community dates back more than a century, as there is evidence that the first teacher came here in the early 1850s. This was not too long after the discovery of iron ore in 1844. And evidently, the pioneers wanted their children to master the fundamentals of the 3 R's. For the Negaunee Iron Herald files show in an issue marking dedication of Negaunee High School that, according to older residents, Mr. Caldwell taught school in the 50s on the site of the E.S. Green home, now owned by Captain Richard Roberts. Another fraternal float entered in this Fraternal Day Parade is one by the Negaunee Lodge. It was Negaunee Centennial, but the sister city of Ishpeming was happy to send its champion Blue Note Corps, doing their usual excellent job. Earlier in the year, the Blue Notes had won the UP Championship at the Hancock American Legion Convention. Queens, of course, add to every parade, and after their swing through, the Queens have come back to see the rest of the parade. Yes, it isn't a parade without spectators, and there were thousands on hand on this Friday evening to see the Fraternal Day Parade, the first of three in the Negaunee Centennial celebration. And this was the scene on the streets of Negaunee as the curtain came down on the Centennial Fraternal Day Parade and on the first day of official activities. This was just the first day. There were 8 more days to come, 8 fun-filled days during Negaunee Centennial 1965. Saturday, July 3rd was Education Day, featuring an open house at all schools throughout the city. But the big highlight of Saturday was Saturday afternoon when the first round of competition took place in the Queen pageant. And now, let's go inside and see the girls as they appeared in the swimsuit competition on that Saturday afternoon. Diane Collins, sponsored by the American Legion and American Legion Auxiliary. Roberta Susan DeLongchamp, sponsored by the Lions Club. Sherilyn Ann Gleason, sponsored by the Eagles Lodge. Cheryl Corrine Hoyam, her sponsor is the Rod and Gun Club. Sponsored by the Negaunee Male Chorus, Linda Hooper. Betty Jean Johnson, sponsored by the United Steelworkers of America. Nancy Jean Wookerainen, sponsor is the Women's Choral Club. Sponsored by the Negaunee Elks Club, Jill Colleen Ruanen. Charlene Russo. Charlene's sponsor is the Negaunee Youth Center. And Karen Lynn Truella, sponsored by the Negaunee Fire Department. Following Saturday afternoon's activities, the girls discussed with J.C. hostess Judy Boyum the afternoon's competition. Following that competition, Karen Truella had been named as the talent winner. Karen sang "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands," and Diane Collins had been named as the winner of the swimsuit competition. All the girls were anxiously awaiting Sunday's final judging. Sunday was the third day of Negaunee Centennial, and Sunday, July 4th, was Religious Heritage Day. Things really got underway that day with the annual KFC picnic. It took place at 12 noon and continued throughout the afternoon at Jackson Grove. It was a beautiful day with mostly sunny skies and warm temperatures, and hundreds of Negaunee area residents turned out. A gala midway with carnival games was there to challenge and entertain persons of all ages. And people took good advantage of the nice day to have fun at the annual KFC picnic. Also on Sunday afternoon, another very special event took place at Jackson Grove. And the tops in their field were here. The top horseshoe players were on hand for the Upper Peninsula Championship Horseshoe Tournament. The weather was beautiful on Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon as festivities got underway on Religious Heritage Day. But at mid-afternoon, things changed and the rains came down. And due to that change in the weather, the Centennial Committee was forced to change its meeting place for Sunday evening's elaborate program. For that reason, thousands of people turned out on Sunday night at Lakeview Memorial Gymnasium to view the special program for Sunday evening on Religious Heritage Day. It was quite a crowd on hand as they anxiously waited for the night's activities to get underway. Young and old were on hand to watch the exciting program. Sunday was Religious Heritage Day, and Sunday evening's program had a very fitting beginning. Music by a special choir, a choir composed of members of various churches in the area, a combined choir featuring religious hymns as the opening to the Sunday evening program. Following the choir presentation came the Queen Contest festivities. All 10 girls were on stage anxiously awaiting the announcement of the winner. The 10 contestants, Diane Collins, Sherilyn Gleason, Cheryl Hoyam, Linda Hooper, Betty Jean Johnson, Nancy Jean Luckerainen, Jill Ruinen, Charlene Russo, Karen Lynn Truella, and Roberta Susan DeLongchamp, all anxiously awaiting the decision of the judges of the Negaunee Centennial Queen, 1965. The first award to be made is for formal wear, and the award goes to Charlene Russo. Charlene is 18 years of age, has brown hair, blue eyes, and is the daughter of Charles and Betty Russo of Clark Street in Negaunee, and a 1965 graduate of St. Paul High School. Charlene Russo. The Miss Congeniality Award, the next award to be made, went to Miss Sherilyn Ann Gleason, an award voted by the girls themselves. Sherilyn stands 5 feet tall, is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Joseph R. Gleason of Negaunee, 21 years of age, brown hair, green eyes, a 1962 graduate of Negaunee High School. Sherilyn Gleason. Second runner-up, award Charlene Russo. Second runner-up. Runner-up was Roberta Susan DeLongchamp. Then came the announcement everyone was waiting for anxiously. Tom Pello, the Centennial Queen Chairman. There's the announcement. Tom Pello will crown the girls. It's Diane Collins. The Negaunee 1965 Centennial Queen is Diane Collins. Diane, sponsored by the American Legion and American Legion Auxiliary. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Sheldon Collins of K Street in Negaunee. She's 19 years of age, has brown hair, brown eyes, stands 5 feet 5 and weighs 127 pounds. She graduated from Negaunee High School in 1964 and attended Northern Michigan University. Plans to major in speech. Her hobbies include dancing and music. It was a very busy pageant, very busy time for all 10 girls, culminating in the crowning on Sunday, July 4th, of Diane Collins as Negaunee's 1965 Centennial Queen. And of course, at the news of the crowning, some happy people came down from the stadium, and thousands of people were on hand at Negaunee's Lakeview Memorial Gymnasium for the crowning of Queen Diane Collins. Following the coronation of the Queen came a gigantic fireworks display, probably one of the largest fireworks displays held in this area in many years. Among the featured fireworks, Niagara Falls. You can probably hear the oohs and the ahs of the crowd as the fireworks are being set off. The crowd is at the Negaunee High School athletic field. The day turned out to be a rainy day, but things cleared up late in the evening, and the fireworks display went on as scheduled. As can be told from the oohs and the ahs of the crowd, the fireworks display is a big hit with the people of Negaunee. And one of the featured fireworks displays represents 100 years, Negaunee's birthday celebration, 1865 to 1965. Since it was the 4th of July, a fitting climax came with the American flag. And with that, Religious Heritage Day drew to a close. But there was still a lot of fun to come, as this was just the third of 9 exciting days. Monday, July 5th, was billed as Senior Citizens Day, a day to honor the elder citizens of the community, the citizens who had pioneered and built Negaunee. That night, our camera took us to the Central Grade School, scene of the banquet toasting all citizens of the city, 70 years of age and older. And these elder citizens were guests of the Negaunee Centennial Committee. The chairman of the event was Carl Levine. Earlier in the week, Mrs. Johanna Flynn Scanlon had been proclaimed as Negaunee's oldest native-born resident. Mrs. Scanlon was 96 years of age. Surely the most important thing to be exchanged during this evening would be memories. Memories of days gone by. Perhaps some of them were talking about the great snowstorms of the past, the blizzard of 1904, which brought everything, including the trains, to a stop, or the blizzard of February 1922, which saw about 4 feet of snowfall in 2 days, with drifts of 25 to 30 feet, and they didn't have the equipment to handle it that present-day city crews do. Or perhaps the much-talked-about blizzard of 1938, which any present-day storm is always compared to. It's possible, too, that many of them were talking about sports, and it's likely that a good number of them were teenagers when the first game was played in the new Negaunee High School gym, which had just opened in the year of 1910. Incidentally, during that basketball season, Negaunee defeated Marquette 28-19. Then Ishpeming fell before the Miners 41-28. After that, the Miners suffered a humiliating defeat at the hands of Marquette 56-6. Yes, it's almost certain the conversation centered on memories, and all were having a good time at the Senior Citizens Banquet. During the course of the evening, we also had a chance to speak with the eldest citizen of Negaunee in attendance at the dinner, Mrs. Emma Lindstrom, age 92 of Negaunee. And we asked her the question, what was the secret of her long life?
Now, because I say there already, I've been living a nice life, and I have to eat what I want, and I have 9 children living, and they all use it nice. I am myself, and they've been coming and look at me, so I think they like it all right, and God be blessing me all the while.
Thank you, Mrs. Lindstrom. Featured speaker of the evening was Ralph Schwartzberg, a Chicago attorney who was born in Negaunee and attended Negaunee schools and graduated as valedictorian in 1923. And Monday's program ended like this. Kids and more kids. Yes, another day had come in Negaunee Centennial, and Tuesday, July 6th was Kids Day. And what a day it was. It was time for the second of three great parades, and there were plenty of kids, young and old, on hand to view this one. Throughout the day, there had been special events for the children, children's races, contests, and games all afternoon at Jackson Grove. Free ice cream, pop and potato chips, a free movie, and then the big kids parade at 6:30. The feature of the parade was kids, and there were plenty on hand marching throughout the parade. Every parade has to have bands, and this one had plenty. First came the Negaunee City Band, then the Negaunee High School Band, and then the Ishmaeling champion Blue Note. The streets of Negaunee were crowded. Thousands of people turned out. Skies were overcast as the parade began, and temperatures were chilly. Occasionally, though, the sun peeked out from behind the clouds. And more kids. Kids love clowns and kids love bands. So what could be better than a clown band? The Musicians Union Clown Band. And that rang down the curtain on the Kids' Day Parade. And quite a parade it was. A good time was had by all. And this was the 5th day of Negaunee Centennial 1965. Another feature of Tuesday during Centennial Week was Negaunee Centennial Varieties, a production of the Negaunee Male Chorus. And what could be more appropriate during Centennial time than square dancing by a group of Marquette County square dancers? The square dancers that night, there were dancing girls. And two of the dancing girls from the Savitsky School of Dance included Negaunee Centennial Queen candidate and Queen Diane Collins and Queen candidate Jill Ruinen. Negaunee Male Chorus with Mood Indigo. And with that, the curtain came down on Centennial varieties and another day of 1965 Centennial activities. Today was Wednesday, July 7th, Centennial Labor Day. The scene, a mining clothes change contest. The scene took place at the east end of Iron Street in front of the Brighting Hotel. And the object was to see which man could change most quickly into his mining clothes. The three contestants, Don Penhale, Dick White, and Bud Byrne. And this is the way it looked. It was a sunny day, a pleasant Wednesday afternoon. Centennial Labor Day of Negaunee's 1965 Centennial. In the background, the crowd cheers on the man of their choice. And it looks like the first contestant has his clothes on. Now the second thing he must do is to remove the clothing. There's the winner. The winner of the mining clothes changing contest, Dick White. That evening, the scene shifted. Normally, this floor is used to accommodate 10 men because this is the Lakeview Memorial Gymnasium in Negaunee. But tonight, approximately 1,000 people were seated across this huge floor. This was the scene of the joint labor-industry dinner. If the guest list could be read, it would read like a who's who. For present here tonight were leaders of the mining industry and also local and national union leaders, businessmen large and small, and officials of municipal, county, and state governments. Among the local dignitaries present at the head table that night were Mayor and Mrs. Trotashod, S.W. Centene and Mrs. Centene of Cleveland Cliffs Iron Company, Mr. and Mrs. Ray Satterley of Inland Steel, Diane Collins, Negaunee Centennial Queen, Thomas Pello, the chairman of the Negaunee Centennial Committee, Earl Bester of the United Steelworkers of America, State Representative Dominic Jacobetti, Ernie Ron and Mrs. Ron, Staff Representative of the United Steelworkers of America, H.C. Swanson of Cleveland Cliffs Iron Company, Colonel Cyanus of K.I. Sawyer Air Force Base, and R.W. Grund of Jones and Laughlin Steel. The Master of Ceremonies for the evening was Dr. Edgar L. Hardin, President of Northern Michigan University, who introduced such dignitaries as Michigan's Governor George Romney, who had made a very special appearance at Negaunee's 1965 Centennial celebration. H.S. Harrison, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Cleveland Cliffs Iron Company, who spoke from the industry point of view. And the final featured speaker of the Joint Labor and Industry Dinner, Joseph P. Maloney, Vice President of the United Steelworkers of America, bringing down the curtain on Centennial Labor Day, Wednesday, July 7th. Thursday, July 8th brought Centennial Industry Day. And when one thinks of industry in connection with the Negaunee area, we think of the iron ore industry. This monument was erected by the Jackson Iron Company to mark the first discovery of iron ore in the Lake Superior region. Highlighting the activities on this day, open house festivities held at various mining properties throughout the area. One such open house took place at Cleveland Cliffs Mather Mine in Negaunee. The Cleveland Iron Mining Company was the first to develop an underground mine. This took place in 1866. These underground shafts required huge outlays of capital. Because of this, a merger was effected between the Cleveland Iron Mining Company and the Iron Cliffs Company. and the new organization was called the Cleveland Cliffs Iron Company, as it is today. The union of these interests brought under one management the control of the most important mineral lands in the Marquette district. Increasing costs became too great for the capital structure of the historic Jackson Company, and it too became a part of Cliffs in 1905. Over the years, there were many developments which occurred which aided the growth of the iron mining industry. Cliffs was one of the first mining companies to introduce the diamond drill to locate ore bodies. This took place in 1877. Another open house was held that day at the J&L Research Laboratory. Major emphasis of the work at the laboratory is directed at refining the characteristics of low-grade iron ore and developing methods of treatment called beneficiation. The picture you see now is a Cascade mill, and this is how it sounded that afternoon as guests were conducted on tours throughout the building.
A certain amount of the material is bled off the mill in the form of pebbles. The pebbles that are bled off of the Cascade mill are then used as the grinding media in the next stage of the operation. The fine material from this mill goes through a magnetic copper where the ore is upgraded from the approximate 20% iron that is found in the ground to roughly 45 to 50% iron.
The year 1965, in addition to being Negaunee Centennial year, also marks the completion of 100 years of activity by Jones & Laughlin Steel Corporation on the Marquette Iron Range. For it was in 1865 that J&L became the agent for the Pittsburgh and Lake Angeline Iron Company, operators of the Lake Angeline line south of Ishpeming. Adjacent to the J&L Research Laboratory is the Tracy Mine. The J&L operated a number of mines in the Negaunee area. The Rolling Mill Mine was leased by J&L in 1904 and operated until 1919. The adjacent Mary Charlotte Mine was operated by various mining companies. Ownership of these properties was acquired by J&L in 1945. Exploration started at that time resulted in the opening of the present underground mine, the Tracy, in 1950. And that was Centennial Industry Day, Thursday, July 8th. Friday, July 9th was billed as Youth Day. The official activities got underway on Friday afternoon, but a very special activity also took place on Friday morning. It was the arrival of Miss Michigan on hand to help celebrate Negaunee Centennial 1965 during Youth Day. Miss Michigan, Sarah Jane Noble, her friends call her Sally, is 21 years of age. You see her now as she was greeted by members of the Negaunee Centennial Committee. Chairman Tom Pello on hand to present her with a bouquet of flowers. Miss Michigan is interested in gymnastics. She wants to be a gymnastic coach someday. And incidentally, she is billed as a prospect for the 1968 U.S. Olympic team. She was due to enter Michigan State University when friends encouraged her to enter the Miss Michigan pageant. And of course, from then on, it was all history as she went on to be named as Miss Michigan. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. David W. Noble. The mayor of Negaunee, Photoshoot, was on hand to present her with the key to the city. Other celebrities on hand from Negaunee included members of the Negaunee Executive Committee. Also there was Negaunee's own beauty queen, the girl named as Negaunee's Centennial Queen for the 1965 Centennial, Diane Collins. She was in attendance to greet Miss Michigan as she arrived at the Marquette County Airport on Friday morning. Something rather surprising also took place on Friday morning. The unexpected arrival of Bobby Vinton, the teenage singing star who will be appearing at Negaunee Centennial. The members of the Centennial Executive Committee had expected that he would arrive at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and people in the area noticed a young, good-looking man standing around, but no one realized that he was that same teenage singing sensation. Now members of the Executive Committee were talking with Bobby Vinton and explaining to him why they spent so much time talking to Miss Michigan and were not able to present him with his key to the city at this time because, as mentioned, they were expecting him to arrive later in the afternoon. So apologies were exchanged all around by Bobby Vinton and members of the Centennial Executive Committee. And Tom Pello also welcomed him and introduced him to the other celebrity on hand that morning, Miss Michigan. No, they aren't the Beatles, but for the next couple of minutes, you're going to be seeing and hearing some of the top local rock and roll groups as they appeared at the Hootenanny at the Negaunee Band Shell as part of the Youth Day activities. The first group to appear that afternoon, the Stingrays. And the second group to appear on the Hootenanny show, a young group from Marquette called the Phantoms. There were also some special guests on hand that afternoon at the Hootenanny, and the first to be introduced was Miss Michigan, Sally Noble, and she drew a warm round of applause. Also on hand that afternoon, Negaunee's 1965 Centennial Queen, Queen Diane Collins. Yes, the streets were really rocking that afternoon around the Negaunee Band Shell. It was Hootenanny time, and a good time had by all. The group on the bandstand right now, the Dimensions. And that's the way a Hootenanny sounds. At least that's the way it sounded on Friday, July 9th, Youth Day, during Negaunee's 1965 celebration. Youth Day continued at 7 o'clock that night at the high school athletic field with the Night of Music, an affair presented jointly by the Ishpeming Blue Note Drum and Bugle Corps and the Negaunee Centennial Committee. The first corps to make an appearance on the field that night, the Ishpeming Blue Note Juniors. The Junior Corps is a source of talent for the Senior Corps as members leave every year. And it is this Junior Corps which every year provides the Senior Corps with new members. The second corps to appear on the program that evening, an all-girl corps, the Iron River Legionettes from Iron River. The third corps to make an appearance on the field during the Night of Music came from the western end of the Upper Peninsula, to help participate in Negaunee's 1965 Centennial, the Ontonagon Mountaineers. Also on hand that night were the Munising Silver Echoes. And one of the smallest drum majors on the field tonight, leading the champion Ishpeming Blue Notes, the final corps on the field during the Night of Music, sponsored by the Blue Notes and the Centennial Executive Committee. The Blue Notes, who throughout the past years have performed brilliantly and run up a number of championships. The final corps to participate in the Night of Music. Youth Day, and what a fitting climax to the day with a huge teenage ball. Miss Michigan had been there, but right now the center of attraction was a young singing star named Bobby Vinton. Yes, it was a teenage ball, and everyone was having a wonderful time. And the highlight of the evening, the appearance of teenage singing sensation Bobby Vinton. At this particular moment, Bobby Vinton has chosen to take a girl from the audience, and there were thousands on hand that evening, a girl to bring up on the stage, and Bobby says he's going to dance with that girl. And, of course, this girl probably will remember Youth Day better than any other youth in the city of Negaunee. The highlight of the evening, Bobby Vinton on stage dancing with a Negaunee area girl. This is the way it looked and sounded. during the Negaunee Centenial. And then it was here, the last day of Negaunee's Centennial. And this is how it looked on the east end of Iron Street at 2 o'clock, as the crowd anxiously awaited the Grand Centennial Parade. And this is how it looked at 2:30 on the east end of Iron Street. The Centennial Parade had arrived, headed up by a color guard, 40-man honor guard from K.I. Sawyer Air Force Base, which was followed by Frank Matthews, parade marshal. Following the Negaunee City Band, a group of open convertibles carrying a group of dignitaries and celebrities, including city officials, county officials, and Negaunee Centennial Executive Committee members. Also on hand that day, one of the top marching units in the state of Michigan and perhaps the country, Ishpeming's champion Blue Note Drum and Bugle Corps. It was a beautiful day for a parade. It was as though the Centennial Executive Committee had pulled with the weatherman. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold. It was just a pleasant day with partly cloudy skies, but sunshine peeking through most of the time. And the sun shined beautifully on the brightly colored floats that passed our reviewing stand. Our industry was also well represented. First a float from J&L Steel, and then one of the huge Euclid trucks is used at the Empire Mine and other mines throughout the area. What's a parade without a pretty girl? And believe me, there were several pretty girls in this parade. This group of girls talking on their Princess telephones on the float from Michigan Belle. One of the younger groups participating, a new group, the Marquette Queen City Cadets. Could it be Ben Casey? In all, there were 8 non-musical marching units, including this one, the Shrine Patrol. Incidentally, at this time, we would like to take this time to express our appreciation to the Negaunee Police Department for the cooperation and assistance given us during the filming of the Centennial highlights. We would also like to congratulate Chief Ralph Carlson and his department, who, in conjunction with the Negaunee Fire Department, did such an excellent job of handling the many problems that arise during a celebration of this type. Here's a modern piece of equipment developed especially for today. Negaunee Miners? In all, there were 16 musical marching units, including Negaunee's own fine high school band. We spoke of 10 beautiful girls. Here they are, Negaunee's Queen Diane Collins and her court. Which had come from Rhinelander, Wisconsin, to help celebrate Negaunee Centenial, the fabulous Bells of St. Mary's. One of the important celebrities on hand that afternoon, Sally Noble, Miss Michigan. One entire section of the parade made up entirely of antique cars from all over the Upper Peninsula. All in all, it was a tremendous parade, a tribute to the many who had worked so hard to make this parade something. And probably it ended up to be the greatest parade in the history of Negaunee, the Grand Centennial Parade, 1965. The quotation about a rose among the thorns was never more evident than right now. The girls, Negaunee Centennial Queen candidate Diane Collins, and the girl who worked with the J.C.'s on the pageant, Judy Boyam. The gentlemen in the crowd are contestants in the beer judging contest, which took place after Saturday's parade. First winner to be announced was Albert Herman Jr., the trophy for the longest and bushiest beard. Incidentally, the judging was done by a group of 5 local barbers. The award for the best groomed beard and mustache went to Marvin Stanaway, being congratulated on his win. Receiving the trophy for the most unusual beard and mustache, John Burns. Receiving the trophy for the longest mustache, Angelo Rubat. This, incidentally, one of the more difficult categories to judge. And the final trophy to be awarded went to Mike Holt. The award was for the reddest beard. And incidentally, although we don't have the facts to back it up, you can be almost certain there was a lot of action by the razor blades that night in Negaunee. At the Negaunee Band Shell, prizes were awarded to the winners in the Children's Day Parade. The gentlemen weren't the only ones to hold the stage that afternoon, for following the beard contest came the contest for the Sisters of the Swish, also held at the Negaunee Band Shell, when the ladies of the community paraded their centennial costumes. And after all of the ladies had paraded before the judges, they made their decisions, and they said it was a very difficult decision to make. Receiving honorable mention, Marilyn Bridges, Judy Marvin, and Carmen Wilhelm. And the grand prize winner, Delia Toriano and Jonica. And that's the way it went during the Sister of the Swish contest held on the final day of Negaunee Centennial. And this was it. The climax, the finish, the end. The end of Negaunee Centennial was in sight after 9 wonderful days. The climaxing event, the Grand Centennial Ball, held at Negaunee's Lakeview Memorial Gymnasium. On the bandstand that night, the fabulous Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra, conducted by Lee Castle. That night, the Grand March was headed up by Tom Pello and Mrs. Pello, chairman of the Negaunee Centennial Committee, followed by Miss Michigan and her escort, Tom Baldini of Negaunee. Then came Negaunee Centennial Queen Diane Collins, members of the Executive Centennial Committee, and all of the people on hand to celebrate Negaunee Centennial. Yes, the end was drawing near to Negaunee's 1965 Centennial celebration. But of course, the memories would linger on for many days. It was a wonderful celebration, parades, banquets, special events for young and old. And it was a community-wide effort that the citizens of Negaunee would long remember. And just as Cinderella prepared to leave her home to get there by midnight, these people would dance until 1:30 because this would mean the end of Negaunee's Centennial. 9 happy days in July 1965. And about the only thing we can add to it is happy birthday, Negaunee, on your first 100 years. And may the next 100 be even better.